feel?
Nice to meet you. I'm Kyla.
Okay, here you go. Here's my resume.
Let's get started, shall we?
Okay.
What position are you applying for?
I'm applying for the social media coordinator position.
And what are your strengths?
My strengths, I'm a really motivated person when it comes to clocking in at a job. I just like to be productive and feel like I've done something.
What about weaknesses?
My weaknesses, I would say I'm a social person, so sometimes it keeps me from focusing, but in the end, it helps me do group work.
How would you describe your last boss?
My last boss was great. Every time I saw her in the morning, she was always excited about her work, and I just loved being there because she was so excited.
What were your boss's responsibilities?
My boss handled the major communications between local talents, trying to coordinate events for them and everything.
And how would that boss describe you?
She always used to call me a self-starter, so I would always get my work done, even though I was just a teenager and there had never been teenagers at that office before. She was shocked that I was able to do so well.
How would your coworkers or subordinates describe you professionally?
My coworkers would say that I know how to have a lot of fun while also getting my work done.
Why do you want to work for us?
I want to work for you guys because I want to clock into a community that I like to be in and hopefully stay.
Why did you want to leave your past employer?
The seasonal employment pattern just didn't really work for me because I'm now in college and I need a more consistent schedule and income.
Why should we hire you over our other finalists?
I am a huge problem solver, so I love to try to figure out the best ways to do stuff, and my brain just works like that.
What qualities or talents would you bring to the job?
I love to group work with other people and bring our ideas together and form it into an amalgamated idea that works for everyone.
Tell me about your accomplishments.
In school, I got really high scores on all of my advanced placement tests, and I got some high achievement awards from some of my favorite teachers.
What was your most important contribution to your last employer?
I figured out a way to get new processes because I used to work in media and stuff like that and event listings. So I figured out processes that were quicker because I'm younger and I know about the website creator a little bit more than my older coworkers did. So I was able to come up with some shortcuts for that.
How do you perform under deadline pressure? Please provide an example.
I do great under deadline pressure. When I was in middle school, I used to always turn in my late work late. And then I figured out in high school that if you just do it ahead of time and plan to do it ahead of time, it's not that bad.
How do you react to criticism?
I take it with a grain of salt and hopefully I can try to use it to understand how other people see me and how I come off.
Describe a conflict or disagreement at work in which you were involved. How was it resolved?
At my last job, there was somebody who was mad about an event coordinator who was mad about incorrect information being shown on an event listing, but then I explained to him that it actually wasn't incorrect and calmly, and then by the end of the interaction, he was thanking me for being so patient with him.
What are two of the biggest problems you've encountered at your job and how did you overcome them?
My last job, the problems were tediousness and not exactly knowing exactly what to do after I finished the thing that I was working on first. But I did come up with a schedule for myself. I became a game plan freak, and I love to plan out everything so that I would know what to do, but also space out the stuff that was similar so it didn't feel like I was doing mind-numbing tasks for that long.
Think of a major crisis you faced at work and explain how you handled it.
There was this one time that the phones were shut off, and I had to re-record a voicemail to let people know that the phones were shut off and to leave their information and that I would get back to them, and I think that was a pretty good solution.
Give me an example of a risk that you took at your job and how it panned out.
I used to do social media posts for Instagram specifically was where I took a lot of my risk. So I would hand draw some of the stories and maybe come up with some jokes. And that's what people like the most rather than the standard social media post.
What's your managerial style like?
I think people would say that I know when to get my work done and I don't like to waste valuable time.
Have you ever hired employees? If so, have they lived up to the expectation?
I have not hired employees.
What type of performance problems have you encountered in people who report to you, and how did you motivate them to improve?
I haven't encountered performance problems necessarily, but sometimes in my work schedule, my work situation, I haven't encountered that. But in school, I used to encounter people who maybe weren't as motivated, and I think being a friend to them and helping them get through it by being nice to them instead of criticizing them for their lack of effort, I think that's a really good way to do it.
Describe a typical day at your last job.
I would clock in and I would go onto my computer, make up a game plan for the day using all of the things that I would do, like one of the thousands of event listings that were submitted every day, and social media posts, and talking to my boss, being in meetings about what would work best for social media strategies and everything.
What was a book that you read recently?
Recently, I read a book called The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek, where an unusual looking Appalachian woman uses the power of literature to help better her town.
Lastly, what do you see yourself doing 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I hope to be in a steady job and just being happy what I'm doing.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.